Inktense products can make painting fun if you know how to use them, and I've featured the pencils here before many times, but I'd never tried the blocks. So I went and purchased them, and I'm going to use them together with the pencils in a landscape painting. And I also happen to have the Inktense paper, which I reviewed recently on the channel. So let's dive in because I have a lot of tips to share. Hi, I'm Françoise. Welcome back to my channel. So when I bought the blocks, I went for a 24 color set, and there are two specific reasons for that go for pencils and blocks alike. And this is just my personal opinion, but first, I think that large sets can quickly become irrelevant once you've learned how to mix colors. Because I've noticed that the most experience I'm getting, the least colors I seem to need, and I often don't really know what to do with all the choice in my older sets. So if you want to make sure not to spend too much on those blocks or pencils or any other kinds of blocks and pencils from any other brands, I'd say that a 12 to a 24 color set is plenty. Now I also go for the 24 color sets over the 12 color sets because they have the white pencil or the white block. And for realistic painting, it's a nice addition. I used the Inktense paper just once before when I featured this elephant painting. And it was very decent, but also very pricey, so I was happy to have another opportunity to use the paper, although any of my usual 100% cotton watercolor papers would have been good too. Even drawing paper, as long as it is thick and it has a smooth texture with a little bit of tooth to it. I sketched my subject first with a regular pencil, and I was completely off scale at first because I just didn't pay attention to the fact that my reference was not the same format as the paper was. So naturally, the boat wasn't going to fit the same, and I had to erase and start over. So I thought I'd share about this little hiccup because even when drawing or painting feels easier to one person, that doesn't mean that the process goes super smoothly every time. What changes with experience is that you have that trust in the fact that yes, you can nail the sketch and later the painting. And that's one of the reasons why so many people say that practice is key. It's really not just about improving, but it's also about self-trust. And self-trust is a big part of what is going to make you push yourself and eventually get better. And the next step was the one that I always seem to take whenever I paint, whether it is with watercolors or anything else, and that is picking colors. Although I didn't spot the color names on the Inktense blocks, there were numbers there. They were hard to read, but they completely matched those in the pencils, which would make sense. And that's why I picked block colors that were nearly identical to my choice of pencil colors. I wanted to make sure my painting would look colorful to match the current season and upcoming summer, so I tweaked the reference to look that way, and I found matching color in my set. I never obsessed about having the exact same colors that my reference has, just because I know that this is not what makes realism. What really helps is having great contrast with light, mid, and dark tones, and also the way you're going to layer and overlap those colors together. Derwent has a lot of very interesting and unique products, and I'm not sponsored by the brand to say this. I've just tried a lot of their water-soluble items, and one of those were the Charcoal XL blocks. So I knew it might be better to use the Inktense blocks to paint the background, and then use the pencils to paint the boats, and I'll dive deeper into why later. So the biggest reason why I think that the blocks were better here to paint the background on this landscape is because they're so easy to dissolve. And the fact that they're so big and have no wood casing also allows for larger amounts of paint. And my trick to get these quickly is to pre-wet the palette and dissolve the pigment in there directly. And I also avoid the dry specks of pigment flying onto the sheet because those tend to stick and make noticeable marks on a painting. I've had it happen to me with the pencils before, so I've learned my lesson. Notice also how easy it is to mix two or more colors together very quickly. I was ready to start painting, so after wetting the sheet, I focused on getting the main colors in the right spots. So blue for the sea, and I added a little bit of orange to it to mute it, make it less bright, mainly so it doesn't steal the show when I paint the colorful boat later. Then I also added a golden color for the sand, and then I added some depth to that part by adding blue into the mix, because blue is fantastic to make any color look darker really easily. You can see I even splattered a little bit of that on the sandy areas for texture. And since I was in the mood for trying things out, I used the stick directly on the wet sheet. And it's just like my experience of watercolor pencils on wet. The pigment melts right on the sheet and leaves strong marks, so it can be great if you want to create noticeable texture. It's the effect I had here. But for me, I like my paintings to look smooth, and I didn't love that very much, and as you can see, it's very hard to remove. Actually, it was impossible because I added a lot, so there is still a little bit of it remaining. And after that, since my sheet was drying and a background like this one would be better painted on wet, to get these smooth transitions and the soft look, so again, the boat pops off the page better later. I dried it, wet everything again, and I started adding contrast. I'm noticing using Inktense products that unlike traditional watercolors, it will be hard to smooth a layer out by re-wetting it, especially when you use something like blocks or pencils on the wet sheet like I did before in the sand. It just won't go away, and I think it's worse on this Inktense paper. Because I've tried to lift Inktense pencils off a watercolor sheet from another brand and it really worked, I think with this paper, however, it tends to stick. But overall, with watercolor, smoothing paint blotches and marks would be easier anyways. I managed to get the waves to look better and add more depth to the sand with the second layer. I also managed to get the main boat colors on the sheet, and that's all I was planning on. And at this stage, the painting looks ugly, as in the notorious ugly stage of a painting, but the practice and self-confidence and trust that comes with it will teach you that it will only look good when close to finished. That's why I ditched the blocks for the pencils, because the pencils would allow for more precision thanks to the sharp leads, and it made sense to use them for the boat. And by the way, if you want to paint this along with me, it is up on my Patreon right now, in real time and voiceover, and you'll also find plenty of watercolor pencils, and Inktense pencils tutorials there, so check out the link in the description of the video. Back to our pencils. Even though the blocks helped add color to the boat to make it pop and detach itself from the background some more, I knew that I needed to add more color. That's why I started coloring directly with the pencils. Not only does this help see where the final painting is going, since we get to see a drawing first, it's also very vibrant when we activate all that pigment with a wet paintbrush. That was nice, and you can see already how to get from an ugly stage to something that's starting to look good. You just need to push through a little longer. I needed a bit more contrast, and by that I mean a bit more shadows. So since my only dark, Payne's Gray, seemed a bit extreme at this point, a bit too dark, I just overlapped blue and orange. These two colors are opposites on the color wheel, also called complementary colors, and when you mix them, they make what some call mud. And they actually make a brown color, and that was perfect for shadows and making all the details pop here. I activated that, and to avoid to spoil the bright areas with the dark colors, it's better to work with a slightly wet paintbrush and a paper towel in hand. And if you check out my watercolor pencil playlist, you'll find plenty of information on how to achieve this, what mistakes to avoid, etc. It's also where all my Inktense videos are, so I'll make sure to link it to the description of the video as well. If you remember the reference, this was a rusty boat, and I don't know anything better than a water-soluble pencil to create that effect. Just wet the lead to soften it and apply it to the paper. You'll be able to deposit chunks of color, and these not only add a slight 3D effect to the artwork, they're also very vibrant. That's why I used my Payne's Gray color here, so it really pops. Imagine if I had added that to the shadows earlier. The whole boat would look a lot darker, heavier. I used my white Inktense pencil, again why white is so great to have, to add some highlights here and there. And this is not the painting where this is most visible, but it can really work wonders for realism. I'd love to know what the main takeaway is for you here, and I would love to know what Inktense products you've tried and if you plan to using them, so let me know below. And to learn more about the techniques I use with the pencils, I can suggest this video, although there are many more on my channel. I hope this helps, and I'll see you next time for another video.